Two ways this goes wrong. You ask for a one-line fix, and Claude rewrites 30 files, touches a migration, and bumps a dependency you never mentioned. Too much freedom, nobody checked. Or the opposite, you sit there approving every single edit, one yes at a time, until you are just a very slow keyboard, too little freedom, and you automated nothing. Between those two failures is a dial. How much do you let Claude Code do before a human looks? Episode 6 was configuration, what Claude knows. This episode is the other half of Domain 3, workflow, how much it's allowed to act. Welcome back to the CCA exam prep course, episode 7. Same note as last time, the public exam guide spells out Domain 1 only. So Domain 3, I'm mapping from the Claude Code docs and I'll keep it to what they actually say. Here is the thread for the whole episode. The dial is the same whether a human is in the room or not. When you are there, plan mode is the break. When you are not in CI, the break has to be installed ahead of time. Same decision, two settings. Start interactive view in the chair. Claude Code runs in a permission mode, and the mode is just where the autonomy dial is set. At one end, plan mode, Claude investigates and proposes, but changes nothing until you say go. Then default mode, it asks you before each sensitive action. Then accept edits mode, it makes file edits without stopping and you review them after with git diff. And further along, the hands-off settings for long autonomous runs. You cycle these leave by pressing Shift Tab default to accept edits to plan, and the mode you're in decides how often Claude stops to check with you. So the exam's framing isn't which mode is best. It's for this task, how much should Claude do before you look, plan first or execute directly. Everything in this half of the domain is that one question. Look closely at plan mode because it's the safety tool the exam loves. In plan mode, Claude reads your files and runs read-only shell commands to understand the code base, but it does not edit your source. Nothing is written. When it's worked out an approach, it stops and shows you a plan, the actual steps it intends to take, and asks for approval before touching anything. You can approve and let it run, approve and review each edit, or send it back to refine the plan first. Two ways to enter it. Interactively, Shift Tab into it, or from the command line, start the session with the permission mode plan flag. So it opens straight into planning. One subtlety worth a point on the exam, plan mode is read only, but it is not a permission bypass. The normal rules still apply. If something needs approval, you're still asked. Plan mode narrows what Claude does, it never widens it. So when do you reach for plan mode versus just executing? This is judgment, and the exam tests the judgment, not a memorized rule. Reach for plan first when the blast radius is large, a refactor across many files, when you don't know the codebase yet and want to see the approach before it runs, when the request is ambiguous, or when a mistake is expensive to undo. You're buying a checkpoint before the irreversible part. Execute directly when the change is small and well scoped. You know the area, and it's cheap to revert a typo, a single function, a test you can rerun. Forcing a plan for a one-liner is just the slow keyboard failure from the open match, the break to the risk. Now take the human out of the chair entirely. That's the other thing this domain test. Claude Code running headless in automation. The key is the print flag -p. You give Claude one prompt on the command line. It does the work, prints the result and exits. No conversation, no waiting on you. That's what lets it live inside a script or a pipeline. And because something downstream has to read the result, you choose an output format, plain text for a human, JSON for one structured payload your script can parse, or streaming JSON when you want the events line by line as they happen. The other half of automation is the exit code. Success exits 0 and error exits 1. So a CI job can pass or fail the build on what Claude found. that turns Claude Code from a chat tool into a step in a pipeline. The most common place this shows up is GitHub. Anthropic ships an official action, Claude Code action, that drops Claude Code into your repository's workflows. There are two ways to wire it. Interactive, a teammate writes at Claude in a pull request or an issue comment, and the action wakes up, does the task, and replies right there in the thread. Or automated, no mention at all. You give the workflow a fixed prompt and a trigger like every pull request or a nightly schedule. The setup is mostly one secret, your API key, stored in the repository's secrets, never in the file. From there, the documented patterns are what you'd guess. Triage incoming issues, review every pull request, run scheduled cleanup jobs, or enforce a custom check the build depends on. For the exam, the shape to hold is this. At Claude mentions for on-demand help, a prompt plus trigger for fully automated runs, and the API key kept in secrets. Here is where episode 6 pays off, and it's the heart of the exam CI questions. In automation, there is no human to answer a permission prompt, so every approval has to be decided in advance. That changes how the modes behave. An ask rule, prompt me first, is useless headless. There's no one to ask, so it just blocks. What you want instead is an explicit allow list of exactly the tools the job needs, and a mode that refuses anything outside it rather than pausing to ask. Two anchors to remember. The safe default for a pipeline is least privilege, list the specific tools the job is allowed, and run a mode that denies everything else automatically. Your deny rules from settings still apply on top. Same as always, deny still wins, even with no human watching. The dangerous option is bypassing permissions entirely, letting Claude do anything. There is exactly one place that belongs, an isolated, throwaway environment, a fresh container that can't hurt anything real, never against your production repo. And cap the run, limit the number of turns and the budget, so an automated loop can't spin forever. Least privilege isn't just a config tip here. In CI, it's the whole safety story. Let's apply it. Scenario 5. A team wants Claude Code to review every pull request automatically with no human kicking it off. The job must run on each PR, comment its findings, and never modify the repository or reach anything outside it. What's the right setup? Option A. Add at Claude as a comment on each pull request manually, so a teammate triggers the review. Option B. Run the official action on the pull request trigger with bypass permissions, so nothing blocks the job. Option C. Run it headless with the print flag on the pull request trigger, and allow list limited to read and comment tools, a no ask mode so anything else is denied, and the API key in secrets. Option D. Run it headless but in plan mode, so it can't edit anything. Walk it. A manual at Claude needs a human every time. The requirement was no human kicking it off. That's the workflow we are trying to replace. Gone. B. Bypass permissions against the real repo is exactly the thing you never do. It can modify or reach anything, and the job is supposed to be read and comment only. Wrong and unsafe. Gone. D. Plan mode stops edits. True, but it's built for an interactive approval you're not there to give, and it doesn't grant the comment posting the job needs. Wrong tool for headless. Gone. C. Triggered on each PR, no human, a tight allow list of just read and comment, a mode that denies everything else instead of hanging on a prompt, key in secrets. Right, autonomy, pre-installed safely. That's the answer. Lock in 4 things. 1 dial, 1 question, how much should Claude do before a human checks? Plan mode is the break when you are in the chair. Pick it for large blast radius, unfamiliar code or anything hard to undo, and execute directly for small reversible changes. Plan mode is read only. It reads and proposes, never edits until you approve, and it's not a permission bypass, the normal rules still apply. Headless is the print flag -p1 prompt, structured output, and exit code your build can get on, and GitHub's official action runs it on at Claude mentions or on a trigger with the API key in secrets. And the one that decides the CI questions with no human to approve, pre-install the break, least privilege, an explicit allow list, deny still wins, bypass only inside a throwaway container, and cap the turns. That closes domain 3. Next episode we move into domain 4, prompt engineering, explicit success criteria, few short examples, the things that make Claude's output reliable instead of lucky. Subscribe and I'll see you in episode 8.